Om Aim Hrim Shrim Shrimatre Namaha. Vudhyadbhanusahasrabha. This is the 6th Nama in Lalithasahasranamam. This is an 8-letter word as per Sanskrit literature. Let's see the meaning of this Nama. Vudhyad means rising. Sahasra means 1,000 or many. Bhanu means sun or the rays. Abha, the light that it is equivalent to all lights of the 1,000 suns or all the light that comes from the 1,000 rays. In the 5th Nama, Devakarya Samudyata, the purpose of God's appearance or the emergence has been described that it is for the divine work. God appeared for the sake of the gods in order to protect the Srishti from the demon named Bhandasura. The description of the gross form or the physical form of goddess will appear from the 6th Nama, Vudhyadbhanusahasrabha, and continues till to 54th Nama, Swadhina Vallabha. The physical form of Lalita Mata started appearing from the Chidagnikunda when the gods did a homa in the Chidagnikunda. We know that the gross form or the physical form of goddess or Lalita Mata is the body with its physical features as like the human beings. As we, the human beings, having Sakara Rupa, we always will prefer to do Aradhana or Puja to a form of a god with a physical form, like the features that what we have. The physical body with its physical features as like human beings is the gross form of Lalita Mata. Not only she have a gross form or a physical form, goddess also have the other two forms named subtle form and the causal form. The gross form or the physical form is called as sthoola roopa, whereas the subtle form is called as mantra roopa. The gross form is also called as Samrasya roopa or sthoola roopa or physical form or gross form we are saying. Whereas the subtle form is called as mantra roopa or sookshma roopa. And the third one, the causal or the supernal form is called the form of cause or kaarna roopa. The subtle, gross, and the causal forms. The gross, subtle, and the causal forms. All these three forms should be worshipped with our mind, speech, and body. Mano, vaaku, karma, we are saying. That means the Trikarana. When we worship Lalita Mata in a physical form, either you will take a portrait or an idol or a drawing, a sketch, it can be anything. That idol form, when you're doing the physical form or a gross form or sthoola rupa, we do worship with our hands with the help of shodasha puja, shodasha upacharas we do to God. 16 upacharas like dhupam, deepam, naivedyam, gandham, pushpam, abhishekam, like 16 upacharas. tambulam. However, the subtle form, which is in harmony with the beejakshara letters, should be recited with our speech using beejaksharas and the holy hymns. That's called mantra roopa. We should meditate on causal form, the third form, with our mind. If I worship goddess in this way, with all the purified three elements called Trikarana, mano, vakayas, manasu, vaaku, karma, mind, body, and speech. With this, intentions and the goals of the person who is doing this will be fulfilled and it will be fruitful. The other way it is being described, if you prepare a delicious food or dish in your kitchen, before you get the delicious recipe or the dish from the kitchen to the dining hall, the aroma of the dish will come before the physical form comes. Similarly, when the sun is rising in the east, before the sun rises, before sun appears, we see the radiance of the sun rays. Similarly, take a flower as an example. Before the flower blossoms, the smell of the flower we can smell it from a longer distance before we see. And similarly, a lamp. You will get to know that the lamp is there even before you go and see that lamp with the light that it is coming from the lamp. Similarly, here in this Nama, Lalita Mata's radiance is seen before goddess appears in from Chidagnikunda for the sake of God. Bhanu means sun, Kiran means rays, Sahasra means thousand or many. If thousand suns rises at the same time, that whatever that natural radiance that comes from that sunrise, the radiance of goddess is visible when she emerges with that many rays, as much light as that scene would have. That is the radiance of Lalita Mata. When thousands of sun rises or thousand suns rise at the same time, that natural radiance is the Lalita Mata's radiance when she is emerging from the Chidagnikunda. It has to be said in a right way means this thousand suns got emerged from this golden body of Lalita Mata. The light of sun, rising sun, is in Aruna Varnam, the golden color. If you remember the Dhyana Shloka of Lalithasahasranamam, Arunam Karuna Tarangitakshim. The first letter, the first word that it is mentioned in that meditative verse of Dhyana Shloka or meditative verse is Arunam. How before her description is given, the color or Aruna Varnam, it is being kept before the Dhyana Shloka. Before you really meditate her physical form, the first word that it is given in that Arunam Karuna Tarangitakshim is Arunam. Similarly, because it's being described, she's being described with that color, Arunam, Aruna Varnam. She is in that particular color. Similarly, here the description of the gross form of goddess is accompanied by this Vudhyadbhanusahasra metaphor. Another way, if you take sunrise, with the sunrise only this entire srishti or the world awakens. When the Surya Kirana or the sun rays visits the earth, then this entire world awakes. And lotuses blossom. Thus, this chanting of this name, Lalita Mata's sixth nama, Vudhyadbhanusahasrabha, by chanting this particular nama, it becomes like a switch that it is being turned on in the Shushumna path, in the path of Shushumna, of those bodies of seekers or practitioners or Devi Upasakas or worshippers just below the Mooladhara. How the world get awakens with the sunrise or with the rays of sun, or when the rays of sun touches this planet. Similarly, by chanting this particular nama Vudhyadbhanusahasrabha, the bodies of the seekers, worshippers, or Lalita Upasakas, it becomes like just below the Mooladhara in the path of Shushumna Marga, turning on a switch in the Shushumna Padha. It's similar to that. The Darsh, when this happens, you can able to see the divine light of the goddess being emerged from Chidagnikunda. And that darshan of the divine light of emergence or the development or manifestation of goddess causes the hearts of seekers or worshippers to blossom and inspire them to indulge in the meditation. However, similarly, now to the entire world we had described, similarly the case with the human beings as well, right? It's to the Brahmanda we described in this earlier interpretation. But now if you take to a Pindanda, means to one particular person or a human being or any living being. With the touch of that sun rays, a human being or a living being gets awakened. We step out of the state of the dream or sleep or inertial state. You sleep in the night and you wake up in the morning. When you wake up in the morning, that means with the sunrise you wake up. That means you're coming out of that state of the dream or sleep or inertia, Jagrat Sushupta, Swapnavastha, into a Jagrat state of the consciousness. Similarly, by meditating on emerging radiance of this Lalita Mata, by meditating on this radiance, Vudhyadbhanusahasrabha, the radiance of Lalita Mata, the sleep named called ignorance will disappear and life will become more fruitful and meaningful with the knowledge like waking up from the sleep. Swapnavastha, from Swapnavastha to Jagradavastha. How that awakefulness will be there. Like similarly, when you chant with this particular nama, as like Lalita Mata being emerged from Chidagnikunda with Vudhyadbhanusahasrabha, then that particular person's life will become more meaningful with the knowledge. As per pranayama, there are two important beejaksharas, sa and ha. Sakara and hakara, the syllables, all the syllables of sa and ha. These two things indicate the signs of Purusha and Prakriti. That is why if you see Purusha Suktam, Sahasrasirsha Purushaha. It starts with Sakar. And Shri Suktam begins with Hakara. Hakara related He. Hiranyavarnam Harinim. These Sa, Kara and Hakara, Sa and Ha syllables are representing the higher breath that occurs continuously without our intervention as long as we live. As long as there is a good cooperation in between these two, Sa reflects to the inhalation, Ha reflects to the exhalation. When there is a good cooperation in between this Sa and Hakara, the living being will have a good health and longevity. Therefore, Sakara and Hakara are the sign of cooperation. Sahakara in Telugu we say it as, or in Sanskrit, cooperation. Sahakara, Sa and Hakara, Sahakara. That is why in Taittiriya Upanishad, if you see the Shanti Pata, Sahana Vavatu, Sahanau Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavahai. It starts all the letters with this Sakara. On the spiritual path, for meditation, the Sakara are like two Sakara, Sa and Ha syllables intertwined with each other that results into the beejaksharas called Soham Hosam. These are both the symbol letters for the names, other names in Lalithasahasranamam called Shivadhuta, Shivaradhya. These are the indicative um, namas which indicates to the Sakara and Hakara. If the Sa and Ha sounds are reflecting to inhalation and exhalation, then there is another sound called Rakara, syllable, phonic sound called Ra, is a sign of consciousness called Chaitanyagni. Because of this Chaitanyagni, both Sakara and Hakara continues together with good coordination in between them or cooperation. The Sa and Ha sound, one after the other, continuously breathe through the conscious fire of Ra, Chaitanyagni, and bring life to the living being. That is why the word Sahasra here in this Nama symbolizes the breath which is being caused by the Sa, Ha, and Ra. The consciousness through that breath and the life of light in the living beings. Sahasra, Sa, Ha, and Ra. Sakara, Sa sound, Ha sound, and Ra sound. So Sa and Ha reflecting to the inhalation and exhalation is being happening because of the good coordination which is driving by Ra sound, Chaitanyagni. That is the reason this is also called as Sudarshan Kriya. If you remember Art of Living, Ravi Shankar Guruji's, there is a famous meditative practice that you have to undergo if you attend any of his happiness programs. There is a practice called Sudarshana Kriya. This is the reason that is named as Sudarshan Kriya. There also you'll be keep on chanting Soham, 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 Soham. Sa, Ha, and Ra. Because it provides these two, Sa and Ha and Ra. It provides a good view of the coordination that is happening by the Sa and Ha and Ra, causing a living being to live happily. Moreover, this Sa, So, Hum also represents inhalation, which is reflected to the Pingala Nadi, and Hakara, exhalation, is connected to the Ida Nadi, and Ra, that which is the driving one, Chaitanya Agni, is connected to the Shumna Nadi. One should meditate on Lalita Mata or goddess with the spiritual eyes, as I said, that Sa and Ha, the two eyes to the spiritual path. With these two eyes, one should meditate Mata in the heart, which is the center of this inhalation and exhalation. Where does these inhalations and exhalations are coming? It gets originated from the heart position, right? Because of that. In this way, one should meditate Lalita Mata with the spiritual eyes of the sound, ha sounds in the heart as the center of inhalation and exhalation. There is another way to describe that in the Vudhyadbhanusahasrabha. Instead of dividing that into three different Vudhyadbhanusahasrabha into four different words, if it is divided as Vudyadbha and Sahasrava into two parts, then we get the meanings that are related to the cosmic elements called Brahmanda and Pindanda. Vudyadbha to Brahmanda, Sahasrava to Pindanda. This means that the rising infinite light, which is reflection of Paramatma, Brahmanda, who is the source of this complete Brahmanda, is followed by the many rays of lights, Jivatmas, which is connected to the Pindanda. From an application point of view, if any person would like to influence others with his positive presence or would like to increase their own wealth, the spiritual wealth, one should chant with the sixth nama in Lalithasahasranamam called Vudhyadbhanusahasrabha Namaha. Etat sarvam palam Sri Sadguru Charana Arvindarpanamastu.